Good evening and welcome to November's Safety Services and Licensing Committee meeting. I would like the clerk to please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Present.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Present.
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Riley,
Present.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present.
And I would like to take a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with the docketed matters before the committee. And we have, first up, we have a victualling license. I would ask, is there anyone here present from Mindful Wellness Spa? Anyone online?
If a chair could remind them to raise their hand.
If you're online, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Okay, since the applicant is not present, I would ask, wait, this is continued twice, so that comes off the docket, correct, Council President?
I think it's up to the option of the committee. Madam Clerk, do we know if this business is operating already?
I'm not aware of it, but procedurally, the committees, the way that they have handled in the past is if it's tabled 3 times, it comes off the agenda. And if the business wants to continue opening, they'd have to reapply. We can check to make sure they're not open.
Move to remove this from the agenda?
I'll second that.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
We have a motion to vote on this?
We have a
Yes.
motion to remove this from the agenda.
Okay,
Can we
yes.
just- Can we discuss that real quickly, though?
For discussion, go ahead, Councilwoman.
I would like to actually just.
Yes, I agree. Okay, Rose, and, well, does anyone else have anything to say? No, okay. Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, next we have the Celia Group LLC, DBA McDonald's. This is continued from last month's agenda. Is there anyone here representing that group? Hi, you can come right up, yep. If you could just press the button on the microphone and then just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Jennifer Collins. Do you want the business address or my home address?
Whichever. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present here in chambers or online who would like to speak for or against this license? Okay, I don't see anyone, so I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, for discussion. If you would like to just say a couple words about what you're applying for, and then
What
we'll
we
ask some
do.
questions. Excellent, thank you. Can you tell me what your hours will be at this location?
I have Cranston listed as 24 hours.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you, Chairwoman. McDonald's, it's the one that's already there, right? The one on the corner of Webster and Cranston Street? Oh. Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Do you know if that's a change in hours or if it was already 24 hours?
It was always listed as 24. I do believe hours might have changed during the pandemic, but it should be back to 24.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have an auto repair license for ENS Auto Services. Is there anyone here from ENS?
Hi,
Hi, can you please state your name and your address for the record?
Emmanuel Tejada. My address is my home on the shop.
Whichever you'd like. But could you take your, is it possible to take your mask down?
It's 11 Sabra Street, Cranston. EMMAMUEL. Tejada. TATEJADA.
And is there anyone present here in chambers or online who would like to speak for or against this license application?
See no public comment?
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, for discussion. Could you please tell us a little bit about your business?
So my name is Madeline. I'm here translating for him. And he will do like oil change, pattern rotors, mechanic stuff.
Basic stuff? All right, so just a question. What are the days of the week you plan to be open and the hours? So they can't hear you.
All right,
If you
Monday-
could go closer to the mic maybe or pull it down. I know
All
it's
right,
really hard. to-
Monday through Saturdays, and it's from 9 to 6, and then Saturdays 9 to 2 o'clock.
And how many mechanics do you plan to have there?
It's only him.
Okay. Does anyone else from the committee have questions? Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you, Chairwoman. To Mr. Tejada through the interpreter, you mentioned the hours, and I think in the past we've asked him of the auto repair licenses as far as the vehicles on the lot. How many vehicles on the lot will you have? I know. I apologize. How many vehicles will be on the lot? I'm just curious. It's a residential area, so I'm just curious as far as how many vehicles will you have? That's the only question that I have for now. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay. Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If you have any
you.
questions, you can contact the clerk's office or any one of us. Good luck. You too. Okay, next we have a Class BV liquor license. This is a new license for Cafe Day Restaurant and Bar. Is there anyone here representing Cafe Day Restaurant and Bar? Hi, how are you?
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chairwoman and members of the Safety Services Committee. My name is Frank Manny. I'm an attorney with offices at 1405 Plainfield Street in Johnston. And with me this evening is the principal of Cafe de Restaurant and Bar LLC, Carlos Santos.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in chambers or online who'd like to speak for or against this license?
See no public comment?
Are you here for this? Okay, whoever would like to come up first, you can just have a seat probably over here and you can come up after.
Take my stuff.
Whoever would like to speak against it can just come up to the podium one at a time.
Madam Chair, I have a point of information. This applicant is on the docket on page 4 for an entertainment license and also for a victualling license. So I don't know if you want to take comment on all 3 at this time. I'll make a motion to take the docket out of order.
Motion to take the docket out of order.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please, discussion for taking it out of order? All right, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So we can discuss any of the licenses that they are trying to get tonight. If you could just state your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Okay, my name's Margaret Riga, 99. Yeah, REGA, right, 99 Hillwood Street. And I'm right behind it. My backyard is adjacent to the club. And too much bull has gone on over there over the years that it's been clubs, right? And I just don't want it. They've even shot my pool out. Right, I'm talking like 20 years ago. And I just don't want it. You know, so I'm against it.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Denise Rotundo. I'm also a neighbor in that same vicinity. I live next door to Margaret. And my concern is parking, noise, violence in that area. Litter as well.
Can you give us your entire address, please, just for the record?
Yes, it's 107 Hillwood Street.
Thank you.
Hi, Ron Rotundo, 107 Hillwood Street. There's just too many houses in the proximity of the building that they want to do this in. I mean, it's a congested area. The parking is going to be out of control. If they have entertainment there, where do they park? It'll be all over the streets, driveways blocked. We've been through this before. You know, there'll be police coming weekly anyway with the phone calls, the noise, the litter, urinating in the streets. Oh, believe me, I've been there my whole life. I know what happened when it closed. It was nice, perfect. Now you want to bring it back. You're driving everybody out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Hello, my name is Vincent DeBoza. That's DEBOZZA. And I live at 303 Webster Avenue, adjacent to the club. I've been at that residence for 50+ years with my wife Phyllis, and we've seen many changes to that club from its infancy to its present day station, whatever it is right now. And like my friend Ronnie was saying, you'd see urination, vomiting, fist fights, marijuana circles. You'd call the police. By the time they got there, they'd be long gone. And I wouldn't want to see it. And we have a bunch of noisy neighbors right now. This would be an added one to it. If you can guarantee that isn't going to be happening, I doubt it, because people get very unruly when they drink. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Virginia Kachanis. Kachanis. I live at 124 Hillwood Street, and I feel the same way as my neighbors do. The whole area is congested anyway. There's so many businesses, there's barber shops, Cumberland Farms, Subways, gas stations, everything. We don't need another club or a little restaurant where there's going to be late hours, traffic, like they said, urination, all kind of things go on. We have loud music as it is. We don't need any more music or more people in that area. We'd like to have a little bit of peace and quiet in our neighborhood. And now we're going to add another restaurant or cafe, whatever it's going to be. We just really don't want it. We'd like to have a little bit of peace and quiet in our neighborhood. So I feel the same way as all of my neighbors. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Hi, my name is Tony, Toni Barletta, Barletta. I live on 335 Union Avenue. Our neighborhood is just coming back after being in real dire straits. I've been living in that neighborhood since 1972, and we had a lot of wonderful families that moved out. It's just starting to come back. People have bought the houses, families are moving in. We have young children in the neighborhood now, and I don't think anyone should be subjected to that or have their children subjected to that kind of atmosphere. We've had drug dealings going on. We've had women fist fighting in the street. I've had men urinating in my yard, beer bottles in my yard, glass in the street, glasses on the sidewalk. I don't think we have to go through that again, especially now that there are families in the neighborhood and young children. People next door to me have a young daughter, 10th grade at Classical, a little 4-year-old on the 2nd floor, a baby on the 3rd floor. Across the street, there's a little girl next door to me. There are 4 little boys. I don't think we need this. We're just starting to come back, and it's still just now starting to get like it used to be. People are fixing up their homes. It's not going to help with the with the appreciation of the neighborhood or the property. It's going to depreciate everything. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in chambers?
Hello, my name is Angel Ventura. Live in 338 Union Avenue. I recently bought a house, so I didn't know too much about the neighborhood. So when I received the letter, I went talk with a long-time people there living, and I asked them how it was before. They told me that when the business was open, there was a lot of fights. There was people urinating around, and I believe that there's other places to those kind of business, but that one is not the one. There is a house next to it, 3-family house. There is another house, 3-family house next to that business. Behind there is another family house. And in front we have a body shop that is open all day till 5 p.m. So what I can see is after 5 p.m. we have some peace. And I think we're gonna lose that if we allow that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who'd like to speak? Is there anyone online?
See no public comment?
Okay, thank you. And I'll invite the applicant back up to tell us a little bit about what he plans to do at this location.
It's primarily going to be a restaurant. However, what I'll do is I'll let Carlos explain to you what he would like to do. Right now, the facility is closed. As you all know, it's the old Mount Carmel Club that's been around since the 1920s, I believe. And it's closed. My client, through another LLC, has owned the building for the past couple of years. And obviously, you know, he'd like to do something with his livelihood. But Carlos, why don't you explain to them what you're planning on doing with the facility?
Hi, my name is Carlos Santos. What I'm planning to do is a restaurant. I'm not planning to be having like any hookahs or. No, I'm planning to have a restaurant. I'm not planning to be having like any entertainment like that, like calling a big crowd, having any hookah. That's one of the main concerns of everybody, basically, probably. I'm planning to be closing at 11. And basically it's gonna be 11 to 11. That's gonna be the business hours. I have another restaurant on Providence. I have it for 7 years. I never been on travel or anything like that. And that's pretty much it.
Do you plan to be open 7 days a week?
Huh?
7 days a week, 11 to 11, or?
No, I'm not planning to be open 7 days a week. It's gonna be 5 days a week.
Which days?
It's gonna be Wednesday through Sunday.
And what's the name of the restaurant that you have in Providence?
Merengue,
Merengue?
Merengue, MERUERN. You're welcome.
Are there any questions from members of the committee? Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Mr. Santos, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry, I apologize. Good evening. Just as a follow-up, your hours will be from 11 to 11. You said Wednesday through Sunday. It's just going to be restaurant, you said?
Yep.
Correct, just to make sure that. And now, as far as the restaurant, and obviously you're here before the liquor license
Yep.
and entertainment license as
Yep.
well. Few questions for you. Would you consider changing the hours instead of going from 11 a.m. to? My question is opening as a restaurant only without an entertainment like but as a trial, I guess, pilot sort of, right? As this was to even get approved tonight. I'm just, asking you what your thoughts
Yeah, I
are
think we
on
can
that,
look
and what your
something else at that.
consideration would be.
We're always open to
We
compromise.
open, yeah.
I mean, when we applied for the liquor license, it was suggested by the city officials that we apply for the entertainment license at the same time. So what we did was all the abutters within the 400-foot radius of the premises, which includes Providence and Cranston, were notified. And we also got routing slips for the entertainment license signed off by, and we submitted them already, the police department, the inspection zoning office, as well as the traffic engineer. They all did not have an issue with the project. And I have been talking with, I talked to him today, Lieutenant Ireland of the fire department. Give us a list today of items that we have to attend to regarding the fire safety code. And my client has attended to most of them. Matter of fact, he gave me a sheet tonight when he came in of everything that he's done. Lieutenant's here tonight, but he said he was going to be here just to advise the committee. But we have been working with the fire department. So initially, we were going to go for a restaurant with a liquor license. But then when we started talking to the city officials, they suggested, because you're doing it, why don't you ask for everything all at the same time? So as I said, the police, the zoning department, and the traffic engineer did not have any issues with this business reopening. And those slips were all submitted to the city. The only one we haven't submitted is the fire department, but we're working with them. It's been very cooperative with this lieutenant.
Thank you. I hate to interrupt you if you don't mind speaking to the microphone, just in case anyone at the Zoom
Oh, sure.
that's home is able
Okay.
to also listen.
So that's why we're at this is why we're at this position, but we are always open to compromise because we want to work with everybody.
Off-street parking, on-site parking, sorry.
It's about 15, 10 or 15.
And
And the guy from across the street from the shop,
quiet in the audience, please.
and the shop from across the street, they usually use the parking lot there on the day, and I'm basically like, use the parking lot there on the night, so. Yep.
From 11 to 11 PM. The shop on Saturday across the street is open on Saturdays. Just curious, so without using the shop's parking lot, your facility, your building has 15, did I hear that right? 15 parking
10
spots?
or 15, yeah, something like that.
Okay, now is your restaurant inside only, or are you also planning to have outside seating?
It's inside.
Just inside seating, okay.
Yep.
How many people will that site accommodate inside of the restaurant? What is the capacity for that restaurant? I apologize, I don't have that in front of me.
Under 99,
Un-
under 100.
Under 100, is that including staff as well?
Yep.
What would you consider your hours to be if this was a restaurant-only basis?
It will be about the same time, or probably to like 10, 11 to 10.
My last question is there a surround system or not a surround system? Is it insulated with for like music? Is it insulated, I guess, for a sound system or soundproof, I guess?
I believe so from the previous owner.
Okay, thank you. I may have additional questions later on, but that's what I have for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Vice President Barry?
Yes, based on what the constituents are envisioning, based on the licenses that the applicant is applying for, it seems that we do need to come to some kind of a compromise. So either that or we have to continue this so the council can look into it more to
Well,
see.
We're always open to compromise. We want to satisfy the neighbors.
So the constituents in my mind are envisioning loud bands playing, large crowds being there, hundreds of cars parking on the street.
That wouldn't be the case because the facility, I believe, holds less than 100 people. So it's a small facility. And for the entertainment, we had suggested karaoke, live music, a disc jockey. And, we're also opening to curtailing the hours of operation, as my client has just said. So if you think that it shouldn't be open from 11 to 11 Wednesday through Sunday, we're willing to work with you on the hours.
So I would defer to the committee chairperson as to, I would not be in favor of approving all three of those licenses as they exist now, but I am very willing to compromise to give this gentleman a chance to open up a business in Cranston that has been closed for a while, provided that we can come to a compromise that the neighbors agree to.
Sure.
That would be how I would approach this. So I would defer that to the
That's
committee
fine. And we're
committee
always willing to
chairperson.
Work with people. That's fine.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Thank you. I believe this is actually in Ward 3. We actually just, our councilman for that ward is actually here with us today. It's Mr.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. I'm not sure, obviously you just walked in, so I apologize, but we're on page 2. If you have it on, have it open, but hours are 11:11, the proposed hours, 11 to 11. And they're obviously here not just as a liquor license, but of entertainment license as well. 15 parking spots about. So I'm kind of deferring to you as well, Councilman Donegan. I hate to put you on the spot, but given the fact that that's also your ward, I'd like to know if you have any objections or suggestions as to what Councilman Ferry said or I.
Excuse me. Thank you, Councilwoman, and I apologize. I'm running here from a doctor's appointment. All right, so we're talking, is it 326 Union Avenue? So that's the Mount Carmel Club. I know that in the past I've talked with constituents in the area. 11 to 11, how many days a week? 5?
5 days a week.
7? Okay. Do you have any experience running a venue of this that has live entertainment and alcohol?
The other place that I have, I've been running for 7 years already. It's a restaurant, it's on Providence. I never been on travel or anything like that before, so I have good experience with that.
What do you, I know as I was coming in, you had mentioned I think I heard karaoke. Is that?
Yeah.
What, I guess, what doing with the entertainment license?
If the client wants to go like and do the karaoke, they can do it. Sure. If the client wants to go to the karaoke and do it, that's pretty much it.
So you would only be doing karaoke? Would you have DJs or bands or anything like that?
Not really. I'm not planning to be having the DJ, to be honest with you.
Councilman Riley?
So I have a question for the constituents. You guys, if I can have a question, I can have one of your representatives or one of you just come up. Would you be okay if it was a restaurant only? Is what I'd like to know. Yo, what? Whoa, stop.
Wait.
Go. you have
Hey,
to go-
excuse me?
You have to go to
So
the
just so that
microphone.
we do this properly and have it on the record, if you could come forward again, sir, to answer the councilman's question, and then you can take your time, and if you could just give your name again.
The hour, Ron Rotondo, the hours are not agreeable. 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I mean, so then it extends a little bit. Well, it's 10 o'clock. Oh, wait, it's 11 o'clock. People still there. I personally don't want it. I've been there before with the Mount Carmel Club. Don't want it. Don't appreciate it. That's it.
So a restaurant of any
I'm-
time.
If they're open till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock maybe. Beyond that, we're sitting in our yards in the summer. Noise. Karaoke, I can't do it. You want to buy my house? I got a nice
All right,
house back there. Yeah. Thank you.
No, I think that was clear.
Okay. Councilwoman Jermaine?
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question for the constituent. We know we have to compromise. We cannot win both sides, so we make some compromise to satisfy a little bit. Everybody will not be satisfied completely. So would you agree to have the restaurant, not the entertainment? Because what I hear is the noises. The noises is the big problem for you. So if there is no entertainment, is that something you will be compromised with?
Yes, if you could please come forward. Thank you.
Again, my name is Denise Rotondo, and I live behind the club. The noise is definitely an issue, because when I want to sleep with my windows open in the summertime, if they're going to have karaoke, of all things, because who knows what talent they have, I got to listen to that noise. I can't sleep. The other concern is parking. Union Avenue, Webster Avenue, main avenues, where they're going to park.
I have a question. Is Meringue, what's the address of that? Is that 468 Cranston Street? Is that,
468 Cranston Street.
and do you currently have entertainment at that establishment?
No.
So just a restaurant and with the liquor license?
Yep.
And what are your hours there?
Right now, I'm open 8:30 to 7. I mean, to 8 o'clock.
And would you be open to just keeping same hours, like closing that early? Is that possible? Are you doing a good business where you are now?
About like 10.
Well, like 10 turns to
No,
11.
I'm not planning to be later than that. to be honest.
No, I know. I've worked in restaurants all my life. It just happens because if someone's still sitting and eating their dinner, you can't really make them leave. So I totally understand what you're saying. You want to maximize the hours that you're open. But I see great reviews for the restaurant that you currently have for the food. People like it. If this is good compromise, you might be able to open, be a good neighbor, and then see what happens from there. It's just an option. Otherwise, people are upset about this. So we can't actually, have a whole room of people who live all around you. If you can't get along, then you're never going to do a good business there.
True. Yeah, I think we can work something else.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And for the constituents here, I believe we can also, if anything were to be approved, it could be conditional with a 90-day review or something to that effect. That way, if there are issues, they're going to be back here fairly soon, and we can get that rectified in case it's too late or there are issues with anyone that's frequenting the establishment. That way, you're still protected.
Madam Chair, if I may, Councilman Donegan is correct. You can put conditions on the license and, require them to apply for the entertainment license at a later date. But you can certainly put conditions on any of the licenses that you grant.
And that's fine. We don't have a problem with that.
And I apologize if this is a repeat question. Would you be open to starting without the live entertainment to, establish yourself within the neighborhood and potentially build, up rapport with those in the area?
Sure.
Councilwoman Vargas, did you have more? Councilman Riley?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I think one of the other major concerns before we open the door that the neighbors are having is even a restaurant establishment in this residential area open after the 5 o'clock hour when they're home, they're with their families. I think everybody does understand, though, we're in a tough situation. This was all, that building has been there. That building owner has certain rights he can do with his property. But at the same time, we need to make sure that you guys can live in quiet enjoyment of your house. So I think we need to come to some consensus, because if we just approve it without the entertainment and the liquor, then the genie's already out of the bottle for that time period. And I think that's one of the major concerns that I'm hearing. I would suggest maybe to continue this to 1 month to try to work out to see what that compromise with the neighbors and the business owner would be.
When we initially filed the councilman, we filed for the liquor license, for a new liquor license for that location. And then, as I said before, when we got into the process, talking to the clerk's office at City Hall, they suggested apply for the entertainment license since you're applying for the liquor license. So that's why we're here. But our initial thought was, let's go in for the liquor license. And that's what we said. We didn't even say anything about an entertainment license. The city suggested that to us.
No, I understand, Mr. Manning. Thank you. And I apologize for speaking out. I didn't mean to say without the liquor license. But I do think there's some concerns, and maybe those concerns can be worked out time-wise. I don't think we should put everybody on the spot tonight to play Let's Make a Deal. I think you should take some time to figure out what would work for you, and maybe the representatives through Councilman Donegan we can put something together that can work for everybody. If not, then, we can make a decision, but I'd like to try.
I'd like to know if there could be someone representing the constituents that could just come up for 1 second. Hi, thank you. Would you be open to similar hours to the other establishment with no entertainment license and no liquor license, just food to start?
Virginia Kachanis, Kachanis. Even if it's just a restaurant, they're saying that the capacity for the restaurant is under 100 people. And if you have 15 parking spaces, where do all the other, if you have 100 people in there, where do they all park? They'll park all up and down Union Avenue. They'll be parked all over Hillwood Street. So how could you say that you have 15 parking spaces, but you have the capacity to hold 100 people? Where do all these people come from? Where do they park? All up and down the street? All up and down our street? We really don't need another restaurant there. There's so many businesses around that area, it's not even funny. All kind of businesses. We don't need the restaurant, whether it has music or not music or whatever. We just really don't want it.
Go ahead, Councilman.
That's all I have to say.
Through the chair to the clerk, is there, was a site plan by the applicant?
Can I ask legal a question, please? At the beginning of this, the applicant did state that there were some things they needed to do for the fire department regardless. So,
Because we satisfy the police, we satisfy the traffic engineer, and we satisfy building and zoning. You gotta remember, this premises has been around, I think, since the 1920s. So this is a legal, non-conforming use according to the Cranston zoning department for a restaurant / tavern. Even though it's in a residential neighborhood, it's a legal, non-conforming use for a restaurant / tavern. So the initial thought was open it up as a restaurant and apply for a liquor license. So that's what we did.
okay, so it wasn't clear to me that the fire department was because of the entertainment license. It could have just been for any other code.
I mean, right, I mean, they may have to inspect it for the purposes of him opening it up as a restaurant. Whatever they have to do is fine. My client will cooperate with them. But that's where we're at now. The initial thing was open it as a restaurant and apply for a liquor license, and that was it. Initially.
Understood. Thank you. Councilwoman?
I don't think it really matters for the argument, but just for sake of an FYI, are you planning on closing the one in Providence and just coming to Cranston? I know it's only like a mile away from each other, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, another family member is gonna be there at the other location.
Okay, thank you. So I'll defer to legal as far as any suggestions at all on this subject matter.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, if I might make a suggestion after also consulting with Attorney Angel. If I'm hearing correctly, it seems to me that, and I'll defer to Attorney Manny, perhaps to speed things along and we can focus a little bit more on what the issues really are. Mr. Manny, is your client at this point, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm just simply asking, is he willing at this point to withdraw his application for an entertainment license without prejudice at this time?
Meaning that if we did, we could still refile it.
Absolutely, without prejudice.
It's just to withdraw it now, the entertainment license. But you could always reapply for it in the future, depending on how things go.
Okay, that's fine.
My client said, yes, he's willing to do that.
Because that's what I'm hearing. It seems to me that's the consensus in any event. It
Yes.
seems like we just can't meet
Well,
here.
he's willing to
So,
withdraw his application for
okay.
entertainment license without prejudice.
Fine. So now we're down to the BV.
Yes.
So, Madam Chairman and members of the committee, just as a matter of information to help guide you perhaps in your decision. So there was some concern expressed by the neighbors about the capacity of the club. As Attorney Angel had stated earlier, you can place whatever conditions you want on a license, provided they're reasonable. So the way to deal with that, just as a suggestion, perhaps you could limit the capacity to, I don't know, 60, 70. I'm not sure how that relates to the available parking that is there. I do know that if there was an entertainment license application, there's supposed to be a site plan submitted. It's supposed to be reviewed to ensure that there's adequate parking, so on and so forth. I don't know if that was done. I don't know. But I'm simply suggesting to you that some of the concerns you can address by placing conditions on the license. So that may help, guide the committee in making everyone happy here, at least temporarily.
Thank you, Attorney Videcchio. Council President Paplaskas.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I hear the concerns of the neighborhood, but to focus the committee, I'm going to put a motion on the floor so we can discuss one thing, see if it fails or passes, or if that gets amended. I'm going to make a motion to approve the liquor license and the BV liquor license and the victualling license, which is the food. Limit the capacity to 60 people and limit the hours 11 to 9. And the reason I'm making this amendment or this motion is so one, we have something to discuss. Number two, the place has historically always been, it is a legal non-conforming use, so we have to consider all the options in front of us. And also come back in 90 days for a review with the applicant, and the neighbors can come back too and let the committee know how things are going. And at any time, this committee can show cause anyone that has a license. So just keep that in mind too. So that's my motion, and we'll see if there's a second.
I'll second that for discussion.
Councilman Riley.
Thank you, Council President. I would be interested to know if anybody would want to further that restriction as a temporary period to possibly 5 or 6 o'clock. So this gentleman can get to business and these neighbors are not bothered after the 5 or 6 o'clock hour.
The question I would have regarding that, okay, I'm sorry.
Members of the committee.
We have a motion and a second. Do we take a vote or?
Councilwoman
Just
Vargas.
for clarification, we're discussing Council President's motion, correct?
Yes.
Just making sure, because I second that. Okay. So just curious, I understand with restaurants, some of the money they also make is through the liquor license, if you will, at the same time. Is there any regulations, anything that says that we can't maybe do the liquor license at least till 6 or anything like that, or not? I don't know. I know, I get it. I'm just trying to compromise. It may not be the best thing, but I'm also trying to figure out, because we can always bring them back for 3 months, 2 months, as noted.
I think, Councilwoman Vargas, the Rhode Island Supreme Court has ruled on BV licenses as follows. Basically, what they've said is that you can grant a victualling license independently, standing on its own. You cannot grant a liquor license standing on its own. It has to be combined with food. So to answer your question, I'm not sure that you'd be able to combine the two and limit one and not the other. I don't know if it can be split off that way.
Thank you. I wasn't aware of that, so I appreciate that. So, okay.
Mr. Santos, or business with your other restaurant delivery,
I used to do delivery, but not anymore.
was it not working well?
I didn't find the right employees for that, for the delivery. So I didn't get the right employees for that, for the deliveries and stuff. So I'm basically using just Uber Eats and GrowHub.
Okay, so are you're currently using a third party?
I'm using a third party.
Okay, and how is that going? Do you have a lot of orders for delivery is basically what I'm asking.
If I have,
Are you doing a good business with delivery orders? Are you busy with deliveries?
yes, a little bit. But most of my clients, they just go into the business and it's pretty much to go food and stuff.
So another compromise, and it's just, I'm just throwing it out there, might be an earlier, like close time to the restaurant itself. So there's not people parking on the street because people are not eating inside, but to leave the third-party delivery portion of the restaurant could be open later when people are ordering. You're still making money, but the only people there are delivery pickup people and people cooking. I don't know if that's just throwing that out there. Councilman Ferry?
At this time, I would be in favor of the amendment that Council President Papalakis put forth, that we do not grant an entertainment license and we allow the business to open from 11 to 9 on a 90-day trial basis. The guy's trying to run a restaurant, close him at 5 o'clock, he probably won't be able to make enough money to stay in business. That's just my personal thoughts. So I would approve the amendment at this point in time. Thank you.
Councilwoman Vargas?
All right, this is going to be last for me tonight. I will be voting in favor of the motion as well. But I also want to make sure that there's been a lot of businesses that I've been walking in that also have the speakers outside. And if we can set any ground rules or stipulations on this license, there's some businesses that will have speakers outside of their restaurants. I know I'm dealing with that right now in my ward. And so then they put the volume extremely high because the workers are inside. I want to be considerate, particularly also of the house literally right feet away from this business, that's not also going to happen. I would then obviously have the restaurant owner come back within like 3 months. So absolutely.
I'm sorry, one last thing. Do we know what the capacity of the building is? We're saying 60, but how do we know the capacity is only 40? That's something that the fire department has to determine.
The fire department gave me the certificate for 146.
146, okay, and I'll go with the 60.
Yeah, I would say that 60 and 15 parking spots, you can have 4 people in a car, it could be 60. Excuse me, point of order.
Madam Clerk,
Miss?
the council's in deliberation.
Hi, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am, and I feel for you, but we can't speak out of order during the meeting. We can't take questions. We are in the middle of there's a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion? Do we want to vote on the motion?
I'd like to amend my motion to include prohibiting outside speakers that Councilmember Vargas had mentioned. Thank you. We have a second.
Second. Clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman Jermaine, did you have comments to the motion, the first motion?
Yes, I feel for the resident, but at the same time, the gentleman has the right to have a business, to have to support open business as well. That's why we make sure we have compromise to both sides can feel okay. We don't say completely satisfied, but we feel okay because we are neighbors. We need to live together. So I will support this motion and to allow the trial, I would say, for the business. So the neighbors has the right to come up after 3 months to say how it's going and how you doing, and then we can review it. So I will be supporting of that.
Councilman Donegan?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Just so it's clear, I don't have a vote this evening. But I'm gonna, if there are any issues, it seems like the wind is blowing that this is gonna pass. If there are any issues, whether it's you, sir, and certainly the constituents that put me here, I'm gonna give you my card. If you don't already have my contact information, I don't care what time it is, call me, email me, text me. If there are issues I wanna know. That way, when this comes back in 90 days, I know exactly what's going on.
Thank you.
I would echo those sentiments. Please contact me as well. I would hope that I want to be positive about this. If there's been problems in the past with a nightclub, with, various complaints that were made that are very valid. And if any of them come forward, I can tell you this won't go past the 90 days if the same problems are prevalent here. But we need to give, a business owner a chance to open a restaurant, and it might be wildly successful and all the neighbors might like to go eat there. So we can hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And if anyone has any problems, and if there's noise problems, you call the police. We have sound ordinances in the city. So I think everyone will be prepared for that. Councilman Riley?
Thank you, Chairwoman. In listening to the initial concerns during public comment, it was clear that the concerns are of a club type environment. Given the motion by Council President, I think it alleviates that. No, it doesn't make it perfect. It doesn't make a restaurant not exist, but where that place is, he has every right to open. And that's just where the neighborhood is. It's on a main road. He has every right to do it. But I think we've tackled some of those major issues, the urination, the drinking, the fighting, all that. That happens at the clubs after hours. It's not going to, generally speaking, happen in a restaurant environment. So we're taking you, not at your word, but you testified tonight that you're starting a restaurant. This isn't going to be some nightclub. This isn't going to be push the tables up against and pack as many bodies as we can in there, because I promise I will be the first one to vote to shut it down. So we're giving you this opportunity. The neighbors obviously have concerns. I hope that they don't come to fruition, and I wish you all the best in the business, but I urge you to be a good neighbor, and I urge all the neighbors to give it a shot. And I would like to hear from Councilman Donegan. I know it's his ward, so I know I'd want to weigh in on how you feel about I know you're not on the committee, but I'd like to hear from you on how you feel about the president's motion.
I didn't hear all of the comments, so I came in here about halfway through. It's pretty clear just based on what I've heard, they are not in favor. I don't know what the testimony was beforehand. You just said it was mostly based on concerns about a nightclub. If that's the case, then it doesn't, the current motion isn't going to be it's not going to be a nightclub. So if that's what the concerns were about it becoming a nightclub, then this motion certainly, I think, addresses that. I think the motion, if that's the concern, it being a nightclub, then the motion is fine. But I don't feel like I have all the information that everyone else had when they were here previously. So if the concern is a nightclub, the motion will prevent a nightclub from happening. They'll also be back here in 90 days in case there are any issues.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions or comments from the committee? No? Okay, then I would say we should vote on Council President Paplaskas' amendments.
I can read the motion again if you want. The motion was to approve the BV liquor license and the victualling license from operating hours 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., a limit of 60 people, and to be back here for a 3-month review. And we already passed the no outside speakers or music.
Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're all set. Thank you. We'll see you in 90 days. If anyone has any questions. Clerk,
Just give us a minute and just while Madam Clerk is looking that up, just a point of information. Anyone that's here from the Finance Committee meeting, we are running behind, so it'll probably be
we're running very behind.
in a little while. So just hang tight. Thank you.
That meeting will be February 7th. Yes. 6 PM. Yes.
February 7th, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, we can contact the applicant a few weeks before to remind them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have, I believe this may also be the same situation with more than one license. This is for Touch Me Lounge LLC, 961 Dyer Ave.
Madam Chair, you are correct. You should probably take a motion to take these three out of order and take them all. at
Motion to
once.
take these three out of order.
Second. For discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Riley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there someone here from Touch Me Lounge? Hi, how are you? Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Oswaldo Rivera, 162 Wallace Street, Providence, Rhode Island. Wallace Street. Rivera, Rivera.
Okay, is there anyone here present in council chambers or online to speak for or against this application?
See no public comment?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, for discussion, Mr. Rivera, could you please tell us what your business is and what you do?
Well, it's gonna be kind of like a bar, restaurant, some entertainment on some of the nights. And we're planning to open from 6 to probably 12 o'clock.
Is it primarily like for lounge and entertainment or for restaurant or kind of even across the
Kinda
board?
even.
Okay, what kind of food?
Mostly appetizers. I have a menu. You want to see it? Appetizers.
And how many days a week did you plan to be open? What days?
So Thursday to Sunday.
So Thursday to Sunday, you said what, 6 to 11? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Councilwoman Vargas?
Mr. Rivera, good evening.
Hello. Yes. Yes, I own Poppy's Tacos, Cranston, both of them.
And I apologize, you said this was going to be a taco spot as well?
No,
Okay,
it's gotta be more of a bar restaurant.
okay, a bar or restaurant, all right. Thank you. I didn't hear the hours, I'm sorry, did he? 6 to 11, thank you.
Did you say 6:12?
Yeah, like 6 to 12. Yeah.
6 to 12, okay.
You said Thursday through Sunday, correct, sir?
Yes,
Okay. Will you be having takeout food as well, like third-party delivery?
yes.
Through a chair.
Yes. go
What
ahead.
is in that location currently?
What was it before? Same thing.
I'm sorry?
It was the same thing. It was a bar lounge.
And it's closed right now?
Yeah, yes.
Any other questions?
That was a hookah bar beforehand, right?
Mhm.
I apologize. Was it a hookah bar beforehand? Do you know? Is that what it
I
was?
think they used to.
Okay.
Hookah bar.
What type of entertainment do you plan to have, sir? More of a karaoke, live band, DJ? Is it gonna be dancing? How's it gonna?
Probably just some karaoke nights, probably. Special guest DJ, but no live bands.
Councilwoman Jermaine, go ahead.
Do you plan to have a speaker outside of the restaurant? Okay.
No, yes.
Okay.
One-
Go ahead,
Sorry, I just
Councilwoman.
want to double check. That was a restaurant in the prior. I don't think we had any problems, at least not to my knowledge, unless Councilmember Donegan has it. That was his ward. I know that Pocasset Village is right behind it. So just making sure you didn't have any concerns at all as far as constituents reaching out, and when that was, I think it was a Thai restaurant.
Yeah, no, I had, at least in the 2.5 year or almost 3 years that I've been on the council, I had never received any complaints about that location, at least not from anyone at Pocasset Ave. And so no.
Thank you. Well, I don't think I've had any concerns at all, at least in the council, said in the council as far as Papi Tacos goes. So I'll be in support of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if there's no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Is the committee voting on all three together or separately?
Together.
Together, okay. Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Through the chair,
Yes.
just as a reminder, that will be listed on the agenda for the full council meeting for the liquor, because we're over the cap.
Thank you. Okay, we have several renewals in the different categories. I just have legal. Can we take these all as a block, or do we have to go by each category block?
Madam Chair, we could take them as a block. However, I would urge that the committee break this down and take the Class As first as a block and ask if there are any objections or any comments. After that, it seems that the rest are B licenses and D licenses. It'll be okay to take those as a block until we get to the new matters, but I think the Class A should be handled separately.
Motion to handle the Class A retail liquor license renewals as a block?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Council,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
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 Motion to approve the block?
Second.
Okay, for discussion, is there anyone here to speak for or against these? Can come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the Safety Services Committee. For the record, my name is Robert Murray. I'm an attorney with offices at 21 Garden City Drive in Cranston. I'm here tonight on a specific item under your Class A retail liquor license renewal, specifically to object on behalf of the Wine and Liquor Company LLC, the renewal of, it's posted as Oaklawn Liquors, Inc., DBA Gasparo's Oaklawn Discount Liquors at 985 Oaklawn Avenue. The basis of my objection is first, that entity does not exist legally in the state of Rhode Island. And I don't believe it was properly advertised. It's not listed properly. And I don't know how you can renew a license for an entity that does not exist. I did check the application that was filed for the renewal. The applicant listed the wrong name of its entity. And I would ask the committee consider postponing the renewal of that license until it's properly noticed, advertised, and placed on your agenda with a legally existing entity.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Is there any questions from the committee or comments?
I think we should vote on this one separately and then take the rest of the block, and it'll give time for legal to discuss anything.
Thank you.
So I would withdraw my motion at this time and at the same time move to vote on the block with the exception of Oak Lawn Liquors, DBA Gasparo's Oak Lawn Discount Liquors.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
And I'd move to approve the block with the exception of Oak Lawn Liquors, Inc., DBA Gasparo's Oak Lawn Discount Liquors.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
What are we voting on?
The block itself.
The block itself minus 985.
Yes.
Thank you.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Madam Chair, if I may. on
Yes,
that-
please.
On that Oak Lawn liquor license, Mr. Murray's point is well taken. After conferring with Solicitor Videcchia, this council is meeting on November 17th on other matters. Might I suggest that this applicant be required to be here on that evening to explain his application to the committee? This license will lapse on December 1st, and this committee does not meet until after December 1st. So that might be a way to deal with this. There is not adequate time tonight to answer these questions, number one, and number two, the applicant needs to be here.
Thank you, Attorney. I'm very open to that suggestion if someone wants to
I
entertain
would-
a motion.
I would make a motion to continue that renewal application until November 17th. That it be placed on the docket with proper notice and that the applicant be subject to be here.
Any discussion? Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so according to the solicitor, we could take the rest of these classes of liquor license renewals as a block.
Madam Chair, may I
Yeah.
just suggest that
Yes.
you inquire if,
Mhm.
number one, if the committee has any concerns or questions with regard to any of the licenses, and also ask if any members of the public have any comments, objections, so on and so forth, before we make the motion to consider the rest of them as a block.
Okay, thank you, Solicitor. Is there anyone here from the public to speak for or against any of these license renewals listed under any of these liquor licenses? Present in chambers, I see none. Online?
See no public comment?
Any comments from the committee regarding any of these establishments? No? Okay, then we'll go back to,
I'll motion to take the remaining renewals as a block.
Second.
for discussion. Has everyone had time to look at all of them? Because there's a lot. Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Motion to approve the block.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes,
In
please,
the interest
Solicitor.
of not steering the committee astray, I have noticed that on page 4, the very top, it looks like the very last renewal. It says liquor license late renewal. I'm not sure what that means. Perhaps we should get a little more information on that. I apologize. I just noticed that now. I'm just
I just did
not
as
clear
well.
what that means.
we had indicated that on the agenda because the applicant had not come in to when we advertised the renewals, the applicant had not applied, yes. And so out of abundance of caution, we didn't know we were gonna have another special meeting. We advertised it and we put it on the agenda. As of Friday, they still hadn't come in to pay for the advertising fee. We just wanted to indicate that they were a late renewal. But they're all set now. They've paid for the advertising. They're all set.
Then, out of an abundance of caution, Madam Chair, I would suggest that just that one item be considered and voted on separately, just to keep the record nice and clear.
Motion to approve the liquor license late renewal for Uptown Burger Bar.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Anything from the public? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, moving to new matters before this committee. We have a 19-hour alcohol license. This is for St. Mary's School Sip and Shop, December 4th, 2021. Is there someone here representing St. Mary's? Online?
Madam Chair, there might be somebody online, but I know a little. bit
Yes,
about
we
this
have
event.
account name Lisa Laporte.
Hi, Lisa, can you please state your full name and address for the record?
Lisa Lepore, 32 Cambridge Circle, Smithfield, Rhode Island.
They have permission to talk if the chair could ask again.
Hi, Lisa. If you can hear me, can you please speak and state your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Lisa Lepore. I live at 32 Cambridge Circle.
Lisa?
Yes. I'm here, but I can't get you.
Hi, Lisa. I think you might be speaking, but we can't hear you. I don't know if it's a tech problem on our end. Can you make sure that your volume's all the way up? Lisa, can you make sure that your volume is all the way up and try to speak again?
It is all the way up. I'm trying to communicate with you, but it doesn't seem to be working.
Nope.
Or at least you- Oh, you can hear me now?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Sorry.
Just state your full name and address for the record.
Lisa M. Lepore, 32 Cambridge Circle, Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Thank you. And I would just ask, is there anyone here to speak for or against this application? Online? If you could raise your hand. No, then I'll entertain a motion.
Motion
To
to
approve.
approve.
Second.
Okay. For discussion, Lisa, can you please tell us a little bit about what you are trying to do with this license?
We're just having a sip and shop night, actually. We're having to have some vendors come in, and we're gonna have people shopping and give them a glass of wine and some appetizers.
Okay, excellent. Is this a fundraiser for the school?
It is.
And have you done this in the past?
We haven't done this type of event, no. So this is our first doing it this way. We usually do one that involves all the kids, but given the COVID circumstances, we decided to opt out of that this year.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Councilwoman Vargas?
Hi, Lisa, if you can just tell us the time as far as how long the sip and shop will last?
6, probably 6 to 9 or 10 at the latest.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Lisa, is this, did you just plan to serve wine?
Just wine.
Okay, thank you. Council President, I was just wondering, is this something that you've seen come across here in the past?
Yeah, we've seen 19-hour licenses from multiple schools and religious institutions in the past. It says 19 hours. I think it's a state thing, but they usually only last a couple of hours.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Next, we have a holiday sales license. It's for Old Navy 9623. Is there anyone present from Old Navy?
Motion to approve.
Second.
For discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas. Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we'll skip past the Cafe Day because that was withdrawn. We're on to L.A. Bailey's LLC DBA Bailey's Cafe. Is there anyone present from L.A. Bailey's?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Lori Keogh. Keough. 1458 Park Avenue is the business address.
Thank you, Lori. Is there anyone present in chambers or online to speak for or against this application?
See no public comment?
Motion to approve.
Okay, for discussion. Lori, what are you trying to do here with your public entertainment
I
license?
passed on it because of the COVID this year, but I always had entertainment, whether it be trivia or karaoke once in a while. I think I'd want to do a little bit more acoustic brunch music and stuff like that in the cafe and in the lounge. I also I missed the boat on whole St. Mary Feast thing, and I would like to possibly get a band outside. I don't have the space for a live band in my place. It's, yeah, outside and, see if that works next year, because between the rain, it was a bust for me, but, I'm a little far away from the action, not far away, but enough where if I had a band, it might attract more attention to the business.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Does anyone have any questions?
A lot of parking, a lot of space, yeah.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes. What will be the hour of operation?
Right now, I'm open from, I haven't even been able to get the cafe open yet, the side of the cafe, because I don't have enough employees. But, so I'm open till, on the weekends, like noon to slow, which would be 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So it hasn't been pretty lucrative, the late night at all. So I don't even get that whole section over there is kind of dead. I think it's still, people are still apprehensive. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
So-
this could help attract some
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, well, I want to get the day business going more than I do the night.
Any other questions? Councilman Paplaskas?
Thank you, Chair. And I represent your area and
Oh,
I wish you luck. I will
Thank
be
you.
supporting this evening. Never received any complaints, only compliments about your establishment. So I wish you success.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you. Lisa, how long ago did you, I'm sorry, not Lisa, Lori, how long ago did you open? And then you
I
closed?
moved my business from North Providence to Cranston. I was in North Providence 12, yeah, right in the middle of COVID. It just wasn't working for me there anymore. 12 years there. And I've been open since St. Patty's Day.
Great. The only reason why I'm asking is oftentimes I think our economic development will sometimes, if you want to reach out to them, I think sometimes they do like a little grand opening ribbon cutting or anything like that. They'll reach out to friends. Did they do that? Oh, then I missed it. I am so sorry about that, but I just wanted to make sure that you got the marketing part of it as well. So, all right.
You can all reach out to people, you know.
No, it's okay.
It's so
Well,
hard.
just trying to help out, but apparently that already happened. So you're on the
And
A ball,
also,
so I appreciate it. Thank
always
you.
do, that is just the cafe. I'll probably take all the furniture out of that for the Irish step dances on St. Patrick's. Because I do that every year, but I haven't been able to do it the past 2 years, so kind of missed that.
That'll be exciting because we don't see many places around here doing that.
Yeah,
So that'll be
really, I've done
something
it every year,
enticing.
Sometimes twice a year, yeah, yeah.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I just ask that the clerk please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Council Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Okay. Now we have a victualling license from Bailey Thai Cuisine. Is there anyone here? Hi, how are you?
My sister, she's a little nervous.
All right, if you could just go, you might have to pull the microphone down a little bit and just state a name and address for the record.
The business address is 741 Oakland Ave. And my name is Singh Kimwongsa, and the owner is Malasi Bailey Wongtavan. Sure. Her first name is going to be Malasy, and the last name is Vongthavanh. Sing, and the last name is Khamvongsa.
Okay, is there anyone here from the public or online to speak for or against this application?
See no public comment?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to
to
approve.
approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, for discussion, does anyone have any questions from the committee?
Very quickly, if I may.
Go ahead,
just your
Councilwoman
hours.
Vargas.
Thank you. Your hours of operation, and obviously, it seems like it's very straightforward Thai cuisine, but if you want to just explain to us a little bit about it.
The business is going to be from, actually from Monday to Thursday, 11:30 to 8:30. Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9:30, and Sunday noon to 8. It's just a family small business Thai restaurant, that's all. 20 seats.
Thank you. Looking
That's
forward to
it.
eating there.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Can you give us a little bit of information about what kind of food you
It's
going
going to be a
to?
Thai food.
Okay.
It's Thai food. I think it's just something new in the neighbor. There's no Thai restaurant in that street. So it's very family owned, just her and, family owns. Keep her away from trouble.
Will you be utilizing any third-party delivery service?
We do have right now Grub Hubs and that stuff. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Councilman Ferry?
You did an excellent job remodeling the place, by the way.
Thank you. I did all the work from Haruki.
Councilwoman Marino?
I had the pleasure of stopping by your restaurant. A constituent had alerted me to your business, and I just want to wish you good fortune and great success. And in terms of a ribbon cutting, that's something that the office through the city's department, Marcia, will be in touch with you to set that up. That'd be
Sure.
great.
Great.
All right, I think we'll all be excited to go to your ribbon cutting and come get some Thai food. So I would ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Council Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
I see there's no business from the traffic engineer. Is that correct, clerk? Okay, I see a show cause on here, but I think that that was going to be dropped if there were no further complaints. Councilman Riley, you have any information on that? The show cause, that was yours.
Yeah, that, we're gonna let that pass.
And I see no communications from the police, no communication from fire. I just want to make sure that that's all set. Okay.
Chairwoman, real quickly, I
Yes.
know we're late on the Finance Committee, but while the chief is here, I just want to thank the chief and the firefighters for a great Halloween party that was given or was done for our Cranston residents. So I appreciate it, for the children particularly, obviously. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. So I think we can go down to the monthly schedules. We need to vote on the roads on the Patuxent list of events. I'll entertain a motion. Yes, Councilwoman?
Is that open? I'm just wondering. We have the schedule here, the list of events. But what's that? Are we on the roads? The monthly schedule?
Madam Chair, I believe there's another block of license renewals prior to the,
Motion to
Roads.
approve as a block?
Section 7.
I'm sorry, I thought that we approved all of them when we did the block, so that's my bad.
Motion to approve the license renewals in section 7 as a block?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve said block?
Motion to approve the block?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilwoman Vargas?
Schedules now? I'm sorry,
No, right before that,
so
there was
sorry.
another block of renewals. If there's no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now on to monthly schedules, roads on the Patuxent. Councilwoman Vargas, did you have a question on this or no?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I thought, I could be wrong, but if we're voting on or to accept the list of events, are they closed or I know that there was a couple of some situations going on with roads. I just want to make sure that, is there any problem that we vote on this if they're currently closed, or are they open again? Are they addressing some situations?
Clerk, do you have any knowledge of this?
I don't have any knowledge of it.
When did they sent you the list of events when?
It was emailed on October 19th.
Motion to approve the list of
Second.
roads?
Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to Cranston Stadium. There's a list of events sent from Director Chesalia, and I'll entertain a motion
Motion to approve.
Second.
for discussion. Does anyone have any questions? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and we'll take a, how long of a break?
5-minute break.
5-minute break before Finance Committee, so we'll be back.
43.
7:40, let's go 7:45. Take a 7-minute break.
Okay, are we ready here? President Paplaskas. President, he's a council. Okay. I would like to call to order the November 1st finance meeting. Rose, could you please take a roll?
Councilwoman Marino,
Present.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Riley,
Present.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Present.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present.
I would like to entertain a motion to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the prior month's meeting.
Second.
Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is a carried over matter ordinance 9-21-06 entitled Revenue and Finance Real Property for Tax Freeze for Elderly. May I entertain a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Rose, please take, oh, no, open for discussion. May I refer this to Council President Paplaskas?
Thank you, Chair. This is the ordinance that we passed last month and continued on to committee because there was a second part of the ordinance, which will be up later in the docket for consideration. There was another section that needed to be addressed, so we continued it just so these will go together. So I think this is good to go to full council for consideration now. And I appreciate all the co-sponsors as well.
Okay. Any other discussion? Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, I will refer the next matter to Councilwoman Vargas.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I'm not in this committee, but I think this was added on here per our last, maybe city council meeting, I believe, and requested to be added at each finance committee. I am going to defer on the update. I think there's two other matters coming before us regarding ARPA money, so I'll wait.
AR,
What? ARPA, no?
fund.
Fund, yeah, money, yep. So I'll just hold off on that until later this evening unless there's any objection otherwise.
Okay, thank you. Oh,
American Rescue Plan, right? Money?
yes.
ARPA. Isn't that it?
Just- Okay. All right. At this time, I would like to open public hearings, and tonight we're going to do things a little differently. There are several items on the docket that are eligible for public hearing. Tonight, we will handle each item separately. We will limit public hearing to one item at a time. All public testimony will be limited to 2 minutes. First on the agenda for public hearing is 10-2101 titled Revenue and Finance Income Qualifications. Is there anyone from the public here to testify on that matter?
I see no public comment. If the chair could remind folks to raise their hand.
If anyone on Zoom would like to testify on any public matter, please raise your hand. Okay, there is no discussion on that matter. I will close testimony on that item. Second is ordinance 1021-02 titled The City of Cranston Unit Employment Benefits Book. Is there anyone here from the public to testify on this matter?
Seeing no public comment.
Okay, I will close testimony on that matter. Next is 1021-04, ordinance ratifying the Teamsters Local 251 contract for July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Is there anyone from the public here to testify on that matter?
See no public comment.
Okay, I will close testimony on that matter. Next is 1021-05, ordinance titled Revenue and Financial Fiscal Provisions. This ordinance covers the use, receipt, and expenditure of ARPA funds. Is there anyone from the public here to testify on that matter?
Yes, first account name, Andrew Lawmeyer. And several accounts after that. We'll go alphabetically.
All right, this is the ordinance, not the resolution, just to remind everyone on Zoom that we are talking about the ordinance here, not the resolution. Okay, Stacy Potts, please state your name and, your name and address for the record.
My legal name is currently Stacy Nunes and 1390 New London Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island.
Okay, the floor is yours.
I just wanted to speak in favor of this getting voted on in terms of passing. This is to allow, right, for the city council to be able to vote on this to determine which ARPA funds, if they'll be able to say yes or no, if they want to have the people have a voice and input.
No, that would be the resolution that we are going to do next.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other public testimony on that matter? I will close testimony on that matter. Next for public testimony would be the resolution titled American Rescue Plan Acts Fund Priority Use and Public Input. This resolution supports inviting the citizens of Cranston, business leaders, and governmental stakeholders to engage in meaningful dialogue framed by the authorized uses of Cranston's ARPA allocations. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak on this matter? I would remind you that you are limited to 2 minutes and we are only discussing whether or not we are in favor of the resolution or against it. We're not going to talk about any specific uses for the money at this time.
Several accounts. First is Stacy Potts.
Okay, Stacy Potts, the floor is yours.
Hi, I would like to say that I am in favor of this. I think it's important that we have the ability to have the public have access to have transparency on what's going on and also be able to give their input and their voice as to what they think the money should be used for. And I just think that we should be able to give that option out to the people so that they can give their input. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Annette Bourne.
Annette Bourne, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you very much. Annette Bourne, 51 Community Drive, Cranston, Rhode Island. First, I'd like to thank Council members Ferry, Donegan, and Marino for the thoughtfulness of putting forth this resolution. I strongly support the idea of getting public input. There are many ways that we can get data input through our health equity zone and other various forms through all of our city departments, but hearing from the people themselves adds a lot of credibility into how the funds will be used. And this is a historic opportunity for us. And so I would urge the members of the committee and then the council to pass this resolution and continue with public input into these funds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila Ressiger.
Sheila, the floor is yours. Sheila, can you hear me?
They're unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, I'll start again. Thank you. My name is
State your name and address.
my name is Sheila Ressiger. I live at 50 Malvern Avenue in Cranston. And I greatly commend the committee for realizing that public input into the distribution of the $42.6 million of ARPA money is critical. I had planned to spend my 2 minutes discussing broadband infrastructure, and you instructed us that we wouldn't be talking about specific items, but I just want to emphasize that broadband can and should be wired rather than wireless, and that this is a golden opportunity to spend this money wisely on wired connections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew Lawmeyer.
He's still muted.
It's on their end.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes. Andrew, please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, please state your name and address for the record. Andrew?
Hello, can you hear me?
Andrew, we can hear you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Ask me on their end. Next is Candace Brown Casey.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Hi, this is Candace Brown Casey. My address is 68 Knollwood Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island. And I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the resolution. The $42.6 million that has been allocated to Cranston is a very significant amount of money. And there are many important needs that we could use this money to go towards. But I think it's critical that we have members of the community and Cranston residents have the opportunity to make their voices heard and speak up regarding what their needs are. I had the opportunity to attend a few virtual meetings that the City of Providence held a few months ago on the same issue. And some of the ideas that people were sharing, they were very varied and very, very creative and important. And I just hope that Cranston residents have the same opportunity. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Gianna Pacheco.
Gianna, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Gianna Pacheco, and I live at 16 Cavalry Street in Cranston. And I'll just say that I want to express my support for the resolution on the American Rescue Plan Act funds. This really should be common sense to pass. Too many people have been impacted by the economic consequences the pandemic has caused, and we have an additional method to provide relief and improve infrastructure. There was a substantial amount of money granted to us by the federal government, and that almost never happens and may not happen ever again. This is a great opportunity to invest in Cranston and include residents in the conversation of how this money should be spent for their benefit. Everyone deserves to have a say so you can better determine what areas need the most attention to better serve the people of Cranston. So I strongly urge you to pass this resolution, listen to the community, and don't let this money go to waste. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gianna.
Okay, Michael Beauregard.
Michael, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, this is Michael Beauregard from 136 Bluff Avenue in Cranston. And I am testifying in favor of the resolution for the American Rescue Plan Act funds. I also want to testify in favor of 102105. Really, I think what other folks have said is really, the same I would say, is that we need to listen to the community about what are the needs, about how best to use these funds. But additionally, I would, really take that a step further and say I think it's important that the council, listen to that testimony and formulate a set of recommendations as proposed in the resolution to really drive some impact of this funding. We know in the scheme of the budget, 42 million can go pretty quickly. So making some strategic investments that really address some of the needs of Cranstonians would be, I think, something that would be great to come out of this process. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you vote passage today.
Thank you, Michael. Is there anyone from the public here to testify on this matter or any other matters on the docket that we have not covered yet?
See no other public comment?
I would like to close public comment at this time. Thank you. Next, we have new matters before the committee. First is 102101, Ordinance and Amendment of Title 324080 of the Code of the City of Cranston, entitled Revenue and Finance Income Qualification, sponsored by Council President Poplaskis. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Rose, please take a roll. Oh, I'm sorry, open for discussion. Council President Poplaskis.
Thank you, Chair. This is the second part of that ordinance that we passed earlier this evening. What this does is it changes the numbers in this part of the ordinance to what we had done in committee last month. And it also indexes the HUD income limits for Providence County. So the council doesn't have to come back every few years and adjust it. It will be able to adjust on its own. So I urge passage. Thank you.
Anyone have any comments? I would personally like to thank you for putting this forth. It's something that was definitely necessary, and you did an excellent job with it. And I would urge passage tonight. No other comment? Rose, please take, oh, I'm sorry, Director Strom.
I'd just like to give the committee just a little bit of an update. The proposed income limits, as was stated by Council President, is based on HUD. But also, this requires every year, even current participants, that they file an application with the tax assessor. For new applicants, because the limits have now increased and changing, they have to file an application, and this has to be done yearly. So it's not something that's just done once. It has to be done every year, both by a current and a new applicant. But with the limits, there'll probably be more activity due to the fact that there might be more activity because it's been increased.
Any other comments? Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, next we have 10-2102, Ordinance of the City Council Enactment of the City of Cranston Administrative Unit Employment Benefits Book, sponsored by Mayor Hopkins. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Yeah. Second, all right. Open for discussion. Director, would you like to speak?
Sure, just here to answer any questions, just kind of tell you how this came about. So as you all know, we recently negotiated a contract with the laborers union, giving them some additional benefits. Tonight you have in front of you a Teamsters contract that's also been negotiated, giving them additional benefits. And along with that, Mayor Hopkins is requesting that the administrative unit, which consists of 25 people, mostly directors, have their benefits increased simultaneously as the laborers and Teamsters. So as you go through the document, there are some changes in wording regarding title changes on page 3, regarding Director of Administration no longer exists, it's Chief of Staff. Some pay grade changes that this council's already approved during the budget season. A couple of positions that no longer exist in the admin package. The highway maintenance superintendent position is now a Teamster position. So basically that whole page was updated to what we do currently. The biggest change that again is comparable to what the Teamsters and laborers have is providing the directors one extra holiday, Juneteenth, and one extra personal day. Again, same as the laborers and Teamsters got. We're also asking for a change to life insurance. So the laborers had $75,000 in life insurance. We upped theirs to $100,000. Teamsters had $80,000. We upped it to $100,000. The admin people, the 25 directors, myself included, have $50,000. We're asking the council to raise that to $100,000 to match the laborers and the Teamsters. The cost of that is approximately $6,400 to the city. The other big change is when it comes to retirement or when you have separation from the city. Right now, any administrator, any director that leaves city employment is able to cash out vacation time only. All other unionized employees can cash out sick time, vacation time, and compensatory time. So the only thing that directors can cash out is vacation time. So we're asking to up that from 45 days to 70 days whenever one of us is no longer here. That's the only compensation that we get at the very end. So that's the big change in the document. And then lastly, on page, I'm sorry, there's one more change. We're looking to up the schooling allowance for directors from $750 to $850, $100 increase. And on page 15, the last sentence that talks about NAGE employees, we're going to scratch that whole paragraph. That was for Maria Wall. If you remember Maria Wall, she was the last NAGE participant and she's no longer here. So that wording is no longer necessary. So that's it. I can answer any questions if anyone has any.
Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Director. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
What is the, the one thing that stuck out in 3 on accumulation and carryover, with carryover going from 45 days to 70, that's a, increase over what it was. Why 70?
70 is what the Teamsters have. So when a Teamster retires from the city, they're allowed to cash out 70 vacation days on top of sick days and compensatory time. So they have, if you want to say 3 buckets that they're drawing from, the administration only has 1 bucket, vacation time. So that's why we asked to raise that up to match the 70 the Teamsters get. There have been people in the admin unit that have left here with 200, 300, 400 hours of comp time, not to be cashed out, just lost forever. So like I said, the vacation time is the only thing that we get once we sever service from the city.
What's the fiscal impact of that change? Fiscal impact, sorry.
Hard to tell. Obviously, the people that are here the longest, Director Strom, Director Mason, probably would benefit the most. I don't think anyone else in the city probably has anywhere close to 70 vacation days. I think we can start off with 10 the first 2 years, then it goes to 12, year 3 and 4. Most administrations are 4 years, at the most now 8 years. So very few people are going to be at that 70 number per se.
The increase from 750 to 850 for schooling, obviously $100, not a huge change. That would apply to 25 people. That's what $2,500 a year. What is the what's the current use of that line item? Is it being used? Is that why it's?
It is not a lot. That happened to come up because there was a schooling that someone wanted to attend that was $799. So we said, oh, let's see if we can up it 100. It'll cover that school and whatever else that ends up coming up. But there aren't a lot of directors that utilize that because, again, most schools are a lot more than that. If you're going to go to away for any kind of accredited class or something, it's $1,500, $2,000.
So is this an instance where you imagine maybe that, within the contract, the per individual amount is going up, but that line item is probably going to stay flat because it's just not.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's you want to have well-educated people working at City
Yes.
Hall, so that's fine. Thank you, Director. That's all I have for now.
Thanks.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. Director, would you just say that these changes kind of like level the playing field with the Teamsters? It's just
Exactly.
putting everyone at the same level?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Council President Paplaskas.
Thank you, Chair. Through the chair to Director Perillo. I know there are some new council members and I can use a refresher as well. You talk about comp time that doesn't transfer over. Can you explain how a director would acquire comp time or how they use comp time and how that's lost at the end when they leave?
Sure. For instance, most people in the mayor's office that come attend meetings at night or work on holidays, not holidays, on weekends for the mayor, that's all compensatory time. So they get an hour and a half for every hour they worked. That's accumulated up to 240 hours. They utilize that as they will. Over 240, you lose anything additional to that. If you don't use it by the time your term ends, you lose it altogether. So there were some long-term people under Mayor Fung that had hundreds of hours that they just lost.
And basically all the directors are at will, work at the pleasure of the mayor.
Correct.
So you could have accumulate 240 hours of comp time and then that's
Correct.
it. It's gone.
Go on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Vargas.
So, good evening, Director.
Good evening.
I just had a question on the holidays. I have obviously no objection on this, but I'm just curious. The Juneteenth, it's that Friday that you're celebrating it as opposed to the day after, but if the day happens to fall out during the workday, whatever day it is,
I'm
you'll
glad you
celebrate
picked
it
up
on
on
June
that. I
19th?
want to just to amend
Like
that.
notice
I want
as
to take June 17th itself out of that and just put Juneteenth because that may float depending on the day. So you covered me. Thank you. That'll
Listen,
be
no
the
apple
apple.
for you next time.
Councilwoman Jermaine.
Thank you, Chairman. Is that you said you're going to have Juneteenth as a holiday right now?
Juneteenth will be a holiday. Yeah, for
Okay, sir.
admin, laborers, and Teamsters.
I want to congratulate you and thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Anyone else?
I believe it's State Councilman Jermaine.
And tell the mayor, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I'll just, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Marino.
Thank you. Director Perillo, I just had a question about on page 29 with respect to the partial use of sick leave, why that was changed from the requirement of an actual note from a doctor should there be a sick time being used. It's now discretionary. It was changed from shall to may, and I'm just wondering what the reasoning was for that.
Oh, and the Teamsters contract you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's the next item, but
We're not, no.
it's okay. I can answer it if you want me to. Okay.
Council President Paplaskas.
Got one more question, Director Perillo. Going from 4 personal days to 5. I know you said that was because of the Teamsters and the other unions. Did the state law that passed a few years ago have anything to do with that? Or was that just for sick time?
No, nothing to do with the state. It was just something that both unions negotiated and we gave it to them because the mayor appreciates the hard work they do for the city. So
Okay.
he gave it to them and now he's asking to give it to the directors as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go last. Based on the fact that you should always strive to attract the best people for any administrative position, I compliment your efforts to make the playing field better for people that take administrative positions, because sometimes those positions don't last forever. So I would urge passage of this.
Thank you.
Okay, no more discussion. Rose, please take a roll.
Are we amending the Juneteenth? Should that be made a part of a motion to amend to the solicitor?
That was a scribbler's error, I believe, right?
Scrivener's error.
Where is the error?
Somebody's got to tell me.
Where it says Juneteenth in the document, I put June
Page
17th.
6.
I just want to cross out June 17th.
Take it in the
Scrivener's.
form, it's a Scrivener's error. We just correct it in the, if the clerk could correct that in the version that goes to the council, that's fine. It's not
Great.
substantive.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Moving right along. Next, we have, there's a Scrivener's error in the next ordinance. Should I bring that up before I have a motion on it?
Is this the Teamsters ordinance?
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Next, we have 102104, ordinance ratifying the Teamsters Local 251 contract. No offense to the Teamsters. I wasn't trying to skip by you guys. Do I have a motion?
To approve.
Second.
Discussion?
If I may.
Councilwoman Marino.
Thank you. Director Perillo,
Yes.
we'll have a do-over. If you can just clarify why the change is from mandatory to now basically a permissive situation with respect to a note.
It was something, after talking to some of the supervisors and directors, it was something that they do now. So I think it was, they asked if that could be changed. I went to the directors and the supervisors and asked them if that would be a change that would really change their day-to-day operations, and they told me it wouldn't. So that's why the city agreed to change that wording from shall to may. I think we have enough substance under the disciplinary clauses in the contract, in the civil service rules, to address any abuse of sick time. And they made that evidently clear to them when they wanted some other language, changing the disciplinary process. And I told them that wasn't going to happen, that the city still had manager rights and has to have the ability to monitor the employee's use of sick time. So that was, it was a concession, yes, but it was not something that drastically changes day-to-day operations.
I appreciate that. I understand it's a give and take. So
Yes.
Thank you.
If you want me to, I can just give you some quick highlights of the contract. A big change was we went from an exclusive list to an inclusive list. The old contract had positions that were not part of the contract, which didn't really make sense. It should have a list of positions that are in the contract. So we went from an exclusive to an inclusive list. Updated a lot of the language, little bit of language. One example is it mentioned employees of the Hamilton building. We no longer have the Hamilton building. Everyone's at Saconaset now. So stuff like that was changed. The big thing for the union, as always, is raises. They were given the same thing that the laborers got, 2% for 6 months, 1% for 6 months, and then 3% the next 2 years. They got that one extra holiday, one extra personal day. Life insurance increased from 80,000 to 100,000. And we increased their dental coverage from 2,000 a year to $2,500 a year. We also increased their pension contributions in year 4. In year 2, up to 4%, and then up to 5% in year 3, similar to the laborers. They asked that. That was a big point of contention. That was about a 4-hour discussion about pensions and contributions and so forth. Because the newer employees are not in the state pension, their contributions really go towards their future. So they wanted the city to contribute more. So we discussed it, and they decided that if they contribute more, we contribute more. So it's kind of a win-win. We did get some management rights under the disciplinary process. We got shall taken out and put may. They wanted things to be expunged automatically, and I said no to that. We need to have some discretion. So that was a win for us. We also got a slight increase in the prescriptions that they pay. And we got a change in the 40-day trial for someone that gets bumped out of their job down to a 30-day trial. So it gives us a little bit more flexibility. So overall, very similar to the laborer's contract. This one was a lot longer to negotiate. Myself and Chief of Staff Moretti and Bob spent a lot of time with the Teamsters. They had very intricate demands, like 5 pages worth of demands. So it took a long time to get this done, but I think they're happy, we're happy. So it's a give and take. So I think it's a good contract, and their membership passed it. I think it was 75-3. Their membership passed it. They have 125 members, so they had about 78 vote on it. So that's kind of where we are. If you have any other questions, I can answer them.
Council President Paplaskas.
Thank you, Chairman. What just got passed out to you is the fiscal note. Rose, thank you for going to make copies for everyone. So if there are any questions on the fiscal note, Director Strom is here. I don't know if you want to explain that, Director.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I think it would be helpful if Mr. Strom explained it for the record, since the fiscal note was not linked to the agenda. It does not make the council's consideration of this tonight, or I should say the committee's consideration, defective, and in no way is violative of the OMA for public meeting purposes and notice to the public, just so we're clear on that. But the charter does require a fiscal note. Mr. Strom did provide one. It just did not get linked, so you don't have it. So is that accurate, Mr. Strom?
That's correct, Councilman.
Director Strom.
Yeah, part of the contract obviously did include the fiscal note. That's what the Teamster body voted for. And what it consists of is salary. That would be 2% as of July 1 of 2021, 1% increase in January 1 of 2022, and then 3% in July 1 of 22, and 3% in July 1 of 23, for a total. It doesn't come out to an actual 9%, but if you add 2, 1, and 3, 3, it's 9. But if you do the numbers, it's like 8.75. The total salary is $631,736 over 3 years. There was a step increase for some of the employees of $500 that was over 15 years. Over 15 years. So if you multiply 73 times 500, that's the 36.5. That would be in the first year. I noted one additional holiday and one personal day. It's not really a cost, but I put what the figure is, but it doesn't really add to the fiscal note because it's not really an expense to the city. The dispatches, pesticide license, those were a few people that got an increase. What was that, Dan? How much of an increase they get? Right. Okay. So that was just for a license. Delta Dental, they went from 2,000 to 2,500. That's the cost. Life insurance, as was stated, they're going up to 100,000 from 80,000, I believe. That's 4,000. And then the pensions. We had a 401A, 3%, which is the same as what they're currently getting this year. 4% in year 2, 5% in year 3. The state pension is based on what we receive from the state. Right now, it's at 10.7%. I really don't know what it's going to be next year. So I use 10.7. It never goes down, I can tell you that. Teamster pension goes up from $185 to $2, which they're paying now, $216 and $233 over 3 years. And then, of course, there's payroll taxes. So when you look at it over a 3-year period, it comes out to $889,687, which is very close, within like 15, 16,000 to what they received the last contract. So it's pretty much, in terms of dollars, the same. And one of the items that we did pick up a little bit on is the prescriptions. So I think it's a fair contract. The city certainly can afford it. And I think this solidifies a 3-year contract with the Teamsters laborers. And we don't have any contract that's in negotiations currently, but I believe fire will be coming up in the end of June of 22.
Thank you, Director. Councilman Riley.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. What were the dates again of the 2% raise?
The 2% raise is going to be retroactive. It goes back to July 1 of 21. Yes.
And then the first 3% raise was July of 22?
Yes, but they also keep in mind there's an increase of 1% in January of 2022. Okay, and then 3% in July 1 of 22, 3% in July 1 of 23.
So in a 3-year contract,
Yes.
we are giving them a 9% raise over the course of it?
Well, if you add the 2, 1, and 3, 3, but as I stated, because you do it compoundedly, it really comes out to about 8.75, 8.8.
And you said that is roughly similar to the last contract? Was that for
In
a
terms
3-year
of total
period?
dollars, yes.
Is it historically a percentage? And I'm just asking for my own clarification. Is it normally a percentage around 9% in these 3-year contracts that they increase each time?
Well, that's what it's been the last, the prior contract of 3 years and then this one.
Okay, thank you.
Prior to that, there was times when there was less because of the fact that we had some fiscal issues.
Okay.
And if you want, I can give you that figure. Last contract. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, this contract, the total was 889, 687. The last contract was 872, 767. So it was a difference of about 17,000 from the last contract to this contract.
Okay. And was this retro July 21 increase, was that on top of an already increase from the prior contract? Like how on this one it goes, we have a July 23 at 3%. Did the previous contract have that? And this is in addition to it?
No, that contract, the last contract ended June 30th, 21. So
Okay.
this begins July 1 of 21.
And when does this one end?
This will end in, let's see, 24? Yeah,
June
30,
30, 24.
I have
So
it right here.
this last 3%, that's going to hold for the
Oh, yes.
following year. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Jermaine.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is, for my own understanding, is it common to have 2 increases in the same year? I see 1% in January 2022 and going to be 3% in July. That's what I said.
It's not common, but we've have done this before in a number of bargaining units, specifically fire. We've done it with fire. So the reason why we do that, it's so that it's not 3% all up front. It's spread out in the first year a little bit. So the first year is not, even though 2 and 1 obviously adds up to 3, when you compound it, it'll probably end up being like 275 for the first year. %.
Is it for everybody who's working in the city? It's just specifically for some people working in the city?
Just for the Teamsters?
So no one has benefit of this increase?
No, just the Teamsters. And I believe we did the same thing with the laborers. So the laborers and the Teamsters got the same.
They
type
are
of
the
percent.
only one who have this privilege to have increase?
Well, I mean, when you say the only one, there are current contracts in place now with fire and police. When those contracts expire, we will look at it to see what we can negotiate with them.
They will have an increase as well?
Well, they will, well, I say they will, but based on what the negotiations are. Right now, they get increased till the end of their contract. So for instance, fire is they got increased this year and it ends June 30th of 22. I believe the police have in their contract will end June 30th of 23. Every time the contract ends and we try to start a little before, we go into negotiations.
Thank you, Director.
Any other discussion? Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll just add, it seems like a fair contract, the 3%. Well, about 3% over the next 3 years seems fair, based on contracts that I've seen come across our desk. I'll be supporting this tonight, and I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out that members 251 are currently on strike against corporate greed at Johnson Brothers Distributors. So I'd just like to say corporate greed at Johnston Brothers Distributors. So I'd just like to, say I personally stand in solidarity with them and anyone else working and fighting for working people. So thank you to the local.
Anyone else? Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, next, I'd like to note on this ordinance 10-2105, there are 3 Scribner's errors on lines 24, 46, and 49. It should be ARPA and not APRA. Should be ARPA on lines 24, 46, and 49. And I thank Director Strom for pointing that out to me.
Mr. Chairman, there are 2 on line 24.
There's 2 on line 24. Thank you. Okay. 10-2105, ordinance and amendment of chapter 3.04 of the Code of the City of Cranston entitled Revenue and Finance Fiscal Provisions, sponsored by Councilwoman Marino and Council Vice President Ferry. I have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. May I defer to Councilwoman Marino?
Thank you to the chair. This ordinance this evening is setting forth with respect to the APRA money, the allocations as urged by the U.S. Treasury, and it clarifies for us as a city that the funds being allocated will be through the city council. And this is consistent with our ordinances already, such as 3.04.060, with respect to any money being received by the city, being approved by council and allocated in that manner.
Any other discussion? Director Moretti.
Yeah, just the administration's in agreement, certainly materially. There is a concern that we just want to make sure that this ordinance doesn't further restrict the use of the funds for the city versus what the act already has in it. For instance, on line 24, it's stating that the money is to be used in strict compliance with the intended purpose. It's not sure what the legal definition of strict compliance is. It sounds rigid. And we thought maybe the language may have been better if it didn't say that, and more like the ARPA funds may be used with in accordance with the APRA and US Treasury guidelines. The concern is we just don't want to legally restrict the city more than the act was really intended to do. That's one point. The other point is, so basically we're just concerned there might not be enough room for interpretation of the APRA guidelines. And the second part of it is it's kind of restrictive to mention those 5 points. And those 5 points are articulated in the narrative of the act, but the concern is that those 5 points are what they call an interim, part of the interim final rule. There's been a lot of discussion that perhaps the rules may be expanded or they may change. I think you've probably heard that. And my concern is if they are expanded, then you have to come back at this ordinance and perhaps expand it if you so desire. So the concern was, I prefer language to the point of in accordance with the APRA's interim final rule, which is the technical defining term for these rules. Agree, certainly, that Director Strong, I believe, possibly even by the guidelines, restricts the commingling of funds and allows the interest-bearing account. And the other thing is, totally agree that it's pretty much duplicative in terms of C about the approval of the council. The administration agrees. Certainly, it's an ordinance right now. So the biggest concern is more form over substance. I think we're in agreement as to how they should be developed and approved. But the concern is just if we perhaps may be too restrictive down the road.
Councilman Riley.
Thank you, Council Vice President. In looking at this, I can't say that I don't agree with it, but again, this is another thing where we already have, these laws already exist. The 1 through 5 is already listed in the act itself, along with hundreds of pages of other things. So to restrict it and just put that, I don't think is proper, just to cut that one piece out and put it in our ordinance when we should be reflecting on and acting in accordance of the act in full. Part B, all the APRA funds put in a separate account. We already do that. That's part of the act too. We already have been doing that. And then finally, that the city council should nothing be spent unless and until the city council approves it. But another thing, we already have a charter that says that, so we're good. So to put this through, I mean, it lends the connotation to the fact that these things weren't happening before and that this council is coming to save the day and save the city. These things are already happening. So we should follow the act in its entirety and not pull out just some specific things. And then secondly, don't recreate the wheel. We already have this stuff written in much stronger documents than an ordinance, and that's in the federal law and our charter. So I don't see what the point of this is, but I am in full support of doing it this way, as well as in getting public comment from the community. I think that's important, but I don't think we should start throwing around new ordinances every time something comes up. The people that came before us have done work and they have put it into the form of a charter, gets reviewed every 10 years and in previous ordinances. So while I fully support the intent of this, I can't support ordinances just for ordinance's sake.
Councilwoman Marino.
Thank you to the chair. With respect to the Director Moretti's concerns.
Could you please speak directly into the
Sure,
microphone?
sorry. With respect to Director Moretti's concerns, I'll touch upon that. With respect to line 24, when the language just says may only be used in strict compliance with the intended purpose of APRA, we clearly cannot use the money other than how it is prescribed by the Treasury, by the federal government, so that I don't see any problem with that language there. Perhaps as a compromise, maybe we can make a motion to amend and remove the word strict. But we do all agree that we have to comply with the U.S. Treasury guidance. In terms of the second issue of being the final interim rule, if that changes, we can amend the ordinance to reflect that. But I think that this ordinance also, to address the concerns of Councilman Riley, this ordinance best protects us. It makes it clear that we are moving in a direction that the federal government expects us to. We are making it clear to the public that, you know, a document that is set forth by the federal government that is hundreds of pages long, we are simplifying for our residents so they know that when we get this, I forget if it's 37 or $42 million, that we are making every effort to comply, and that this simplifies how the money is generally supposed to be used and how the money is supposed to be held and allocated. And that's what the intent is with respect to this ordinance.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. I just have a question for the sponsors. Is it possible to deal with the issue at 24, 25, 26, to change the language so that if the Treasury changes their guidance, this just goes along with that, similarly to what we did earlier with Councilman Paplaskas' ordinance? So we don't have to change it. We don't have to amend this if the Treasury amends their guidance. I don't know if that's a possibility somehow.
Director Moretti, did you have wording that you wanted, exact wording?
I didn't have exact wording, but more so in this vein, and maybe we could figure something out. But the ARPA funds may be used, as I mentioned, we could say if we strike strict, or we could say in compliance with the intended purpose of ARPA, that's fine. In the rest of that's fine. But perhaps we could just refer to the APRA Act itself in accordance with the act and leave it at that, versus just pulling out the 5 points, which are the main points of APRA, absolutely. But if you just refer to the act and any amendments to that act by Congress, that would pull it in.
If I may, to the chair.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Perhaps we can change the language so that on line 26, it reads, actually 25, in accord with the U.S. Treasury Department guidance concerning the expenditure of the same as currently enacted and as the U.S. Treasury Department guidance may modify with respect to these APRA, excuse me, and now we're all doing it, ARPA funds as follows.
Councilman.
Question for the director. Director, if we pass this ordinance or not, do we still have to follow that act, that federal law?
Yes,
Thank you.
if we're going to use the funds, yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Chairman. To my colleague to the right, Councilwoman Renzulli, I agree with her point about what happens if it changes. This might be really splitting hairs, but in accordance with U.S. Treasury Department guidance, my interpretation of that is that that can be plural, and it could be changing. If you were to add in accordance with the U.S. Treasury Department guidance, to me, that would signify that there's a singular guidance that has been issued. But if you leave out it allows for, in my interpretation, changes to occur.
Does somebody, sorry.
Council President
Yeah,
Paplaskas.
thank you. I jumped the gun on you there. I have to agree with all great points made tonight. I think no matter what we do, the funds are going to be governed by the feds. And what we do here as a council is governed by the charter. I think the first part of this ordinance says the federal part, second part says the charter part. I'm okay with the possible amendments that might be coming forward. So if somebody wants to make them, I think I'm going to support them this evening. Thank you.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. I just have another question. So 3.04.060, approval of appropriation spending or encumbrance, basically says what this says, but just non-specific. Any money received by the city after the passage of ordinance number 93-18 adopted May 14th, 1993, which has not been appropriated or encumbered by said ordinance shall not be spent, appropriated, encumbered in any manner unless and until such time said appropriation, spending, or encumbrance is first approved by a vote of the Cranston City Council. So every time that we get a chunk of money from the feds, do we write a new ordinance or is it already there? Because we got CARES Act money, I believe, which is separate from this, and I don't think we had a special ordinance for it. So I'm just wondering if this sets a precedent to do that or if it doesn't matter. And that's a question maybe for Director Strom.
Councilwoman Renzulli, we periodically get money in grants. We got safer money. We don't do an ordinance for that. We already did it in the budget. So there's some things that refer to the budget that's already been passed. For instance, some of the money that we've targeted for lost revenues comes out to about 7.8 million. That's a line item in the budget currently that this council has approved. So I don't have to come before you and ask you, can I spend this? We've already got it listed in the budget. I think there are times when we overspend and underspend. I think that's when it's addressed with fourth quarter transfers.
When we received like CARES Act funding, that
CARES Act money was put in as revenue to the city for shortfall of various things. And that came directly from the state.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Thank you. Director Sum, and that care funding money that was spent on COVID money was spent, the one that you just responded to, I'm sorry? Sorry, CARES Act was spent already well, you said it's been spent already, correct? It was in the last fiscal year. But that was reported to us, was it not? How it was spent? If you can I'm sorry. Because that was a
It was
$7 million.
backfill for certain revenues that we didn't get. So it just kind of like supplanted it.
Which is at 7 million, correct?
Yeah. I think it was 7 million, yes.
Or so, okay.
Yeah.
Great,
But that has
thank you.
nothing to do with the money this federal money that we just got in. And just to let the council committee know, I'm sure you do know, we only received 50% to date. We'll be getting another 50% next May and next August to equal the 42.6 million. Right now we have 22.3 or whatever it comes out to, 21.3, I'm sorry.
And as those funds are
They're in a restricted fund.
bearing account
Yes, they
already.
are. Yeah,
And
we-
as those are spent, you'll let us, obviously it has to come before us,
Right.
correct? Just for clarification, any dollar, any penny spent from the ARPA, no, am I saying it right now?
Yeah,
I'm confused.
American
Yeah,
Rescue
sorry.
Plan, right.
Is going to come before the council before any penny is spent or on any decision-making money, any decision-making in
I think
regards to
for
those
anything new
funds?
that's over beyond the budget that you've already passed. Don't forget, we have 7.8 million in the budget that you've already approved in budget sessions. That'll come out of the drawer of this 22 million dollars.
Right, but in the future, any
Oh, yes.
additional funds that are
Yes.
that are coming in our way, obviously, in regards to this particular ARPA funds, those are going to be coming before us before it's spent, right? I just want to make sure any dollar that is spent out of the city in regards to these funds are actually coming before us if possible.
I believe that's what the resolution and the
Correct.
ordinance
So even if
states.
the resolution does not pass, I'm just saying, for whatever reason, or if this ordinance doesn't pass, it has to come before us anyway,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
That's what I was trying to ask, like, is 3.04.060 already says that any money that wasn't already appropriated in the budget has to come before us. So it's all, am I understanding that correctly? That's already codified?
Yes, but there are cases where we do have to spend money that we go over budget, and that comes before the council as a fourth quarter transfer. It doesn't come before the council immediately after we spend it. It's a fourth quarter transfer because I'd be coming to you constantly, for expense payments.
Interrupting you, I apologize. I think that's where, I'm sorry, perhaps you can educate me a little bit on this. Any funds that come before us, obviously, we won't know until the fourth quarter transfer
Right.
takes place, but is there any way, like you said, you don't want to be coming before us every time you need to spend it,
Right.
but at the very same time, if it's funds that are coming to us as a city, should we be getting, I know you give us like some quarterly reports every,
Well, we give you
notes.
monthly reports as well as quarterly.
but shouldn't every penny that comes out of this ARPA be
That's
coming before
different.
us? Okay,
That's different.
that's what I think my
Yeah.
confusion is.
Yeah, it's
Double
not
check.
the regular expenditures. It's anything paid out of the opera money that has not been approved by budget sessions and the approval of the budget for last year. That is already, you've already approved that. It's over and beyond that, which is, whatever we decide to spend.
Director Moretti?
Yeah, I think to remove any hesitation, I think the answer to your question is yes, that any proposals will be coming, that there are, the mayor's office, the administration will come to the council for all approvals of ARPA money, period. With that said, the 7.8 million we believe is already included in that. So there'll be no requests that the council does not approve. So we're in agreement. There's no disagreement with what's on the books and what the intention of the funds are. The way I really see this practically playing out is, I think it's terrific about the public input and for the council. I think this is going to be a great effort of the council. I think the administration, certainly the public, as a collaborative effort to come up with something very successful for the city. I don't see the administration here. Hopefully, I don't see the council there. Hopefully this will be a joint effort. I think that's the way Mayor Hopkins sees this. And particularly, there will not be any money spent without council approval of opera funds. Okay.
Make sure it's not a run-on sentence.
Oh, boy.
Good one.
Oh, boy. I got beat up on that one.
Councilwoman Manzulli?
I don't know if this is for Director Moretti or Director Strong, but to the fourth quarter transfer point, isn't that that's money that's already in lines? It's just more of it. So we did already approve what it's being spent on, correct? It's different than stuff that hasn't been encumbered.
I'm parroting Director Strom. The answer is yes.
Okay, so can someone just tell me if we already have what we're discussing tonight codified, but without saying ARPA by approval of appropriation, spending, or encumbrance? Is that the same thing?
The Solicitor's Department believes it is covered under what's codified currently. That's the administrative position.
Thank you.
Council President Paplaskas?
Thank you, Chair. All great points, but I'm going to propose a couple of amendments so we can move the evening along. So we'll go one at a time. First, I'd like to remove the word strict from line 24. And if there's a second,
Rose, please take a roll on that amendment.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
yes. I'd like to make another amendment, Chair. Insert the word "the" between "with" and U.S. Treasury in line 25.
Motion to approve.
That's
So
my,
moved.
He's adding the word "the."
oh, did I get it backwards?
It's what Councilman Donegan had
well-
referred to, just by adding the word "the."
Councilman Donegan, can you repeat your amendment?
Wasn't an amendment. It was to suggest that I interpret it without the word "the." It infers that the guidance issued by the U.S. Treasury Department can change because it says in accordance with U.S. Treasury Department guidance.
Okay.
If you add "the," then it's with the U.S. Treasury Department guidance, which could infer that it's a singular guidance.
Thank you. Withdraw that. And then I'll
Withdrawn.
defer to Councilmember Marino. I think she had an amendment at the end of line 26.
In all candor, it's getting late and I don't recall. I don't know if Rosalba wrote it
It said-
down. If-
I can read exactly what she said.
Thank you.
All right, so we're not putting the word "the" in. It says with U.S. Treasury Department guidance concerning the expenditure of the same, and taking out the word "as," currently enacted, and as the U.S. Treasury Department may modify the ARPA funds. Did I get that right?
Through the chair, are we deleting follows too? Also, as follows too?
As follows below. Sure, that's fine.
Yes. Councilwoman Marino, does that read okay to you?
Yes, frankly, I think it's splitting hairs at this point. I appreciate the effort. I think it was fine as is, but that's fine.
Okay. With U.S. Treasury Department guidance concerning the expenditure of the same currently enacted as the U.S. Treasury Department may modify the ARPA funds. It's not a complete sentence.
Maybe we should skip this amendment
Yeah,
since we have to follow the guidelines anyway.
right. So I don't think we should add that part. So
I'll make a motion to approve the amended ordinance.
discussion. Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
No.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
No.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes,
Now we have to vote on. That was it. The amended ordinance passed. Okay, next. We have resolution. I'm kind of like losing my place here. It's been so long. American Rescue Plans Act Fund prioritizing use and public input sponsored by Council Vice President Ferry, Councilman Donegan, and Councilwoman Marino. And I would like to indicate that there are Scrivener's errors on lines 38, 67, 68, and 72. It should read ARPA in any of those places and not APRA.
And
Mr. Chairman, you
61.
missed one on line 61.
And there is another one on line 61. Thank you, Council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Councilman Donegan.
Thank you, Chairman. You know,
You mind removing your mask?
this is, you know, as a 31-year-old millennial, I feel like I've said, oh, this is a once in a lifetime thing that we're going to experience. And I feel like our generation has been hit by several economic and natural disasters and now global health disasters. But the funds we have here truly, I think, are a once in a lifetime opportunity to address many of the systemic inequities that existed before the COVID-19 pandemic and have been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. And this really is a once in a lifetime opportunity to address those with funds that, you know, a city our size just couldn't come up with without, you know, having federal aid. I know we had discussed it a couple months ago, and I had suggested that we, you know, try and do public meetings throughout the city, and logistically, that's difficult to do, to take, you know, you can't take City Hall and this everywhere, so it doesn't travel. So the point here is to have workshops and special meetings to get public input, to get input from the public, residents, to get input from business leaders, nonprofit leaders, and government stakeholders to come up with ideas on how we as a city, the council and the administration in collaboration, all of us, to best decide how to use this money, to best address what our city has faced, what our city will continue to face, and how can we best alleviate those issues. So this is before us this evening, and I hope that we as a council will support this unanimously. Thank you.
Any other discussion? No one else? Oh, Director Moretti.
I think I know the answer to this, but it's just want to ask the question. You're not trying to exclude the administration input into this. That was the only thing. This kind of feel better hearing it, just like the councilwoman wanted to hear the words on the use of the approval of the funds. And because we see it vitally important to involve the council.
Yeah, I mean, personally, governmental stakeholders, you know, kind of put all of us under that umbrella of, are all governmental stakeholders.
Yeah, because I don't want to be overly technical on this one. Thank you.
Anyone else? Director Strom?
Number 2, at the bottom, says at the conclusion of the workshops, the city council shall compose a report of its findings in order to inform the council. I mean, I don't follow that. It's the council's going to inform the council. Doesn't make sense to me. It should be a committee or whatever to inform the council.
Councilman Donegan?
Yeah, and that's an oversight on me for perhaps not wording it as clearly as possible. I think our intent is that the city council, and that's broad, but you know, perhaps that could be more specific on who on the city council will compose that report. You suggested a committee, but it's to to create a report from those meetings on, and then as we go through the process, the next budget process, or if a supplemental appropriation was to come before us, that we could refer back to that report to help inform our decision-making on how that money should be spent, if and when it is spent.
I believe I understand the gist of it. It's just that it didn't seem accurate that the city council is reporting to the city council. It should be, I'm just using the term a committee, say reports to the city council what their findings are.
Councilman Riley?
Thank you. So much in the same vein as the ordinance, I don't support legislation for legislation's purposes. If I'm more one to do something rather than say I'm going to do something. So for us to sit here and do these resolutions, I do see it as, one branch of government trying to puff their chest to another one. And I think the city has had all it's needed of that. We need to do the work, not say we're going to do the work. So rather than this, I would have appreciated a phone call and say, hey, Matt, you want to set up a workshop? And then we call somebody else and then we put it on the docket and we do that. We don't need to write resolutions that already state what the law is and to try to say that, to try to make it look, whether it's in this chamber or on the street, that we're the ones who did this, because it's just not true, whether we put it on the paper or not. So I agree with everything on here, but I'm not voting for it. And I want it on the record why I'm not voting for it. Not that I don't support this, because I support it 100%. I want to see that this room packed with people with different ideas on how we can do this. And I fully agree it's a once in a lifetime thing, but I'd rather just get to work.
Councilman Riley, I am offended at your suggestion that this is not necessary. We've spent many hours meeting, discussing this and trying to get it right. And we feel that it is something that is important that the entire city.
When were those meetings?
So I would like to, you can't meet with all 9 council people unless you have a formal meeting.
Guys, I'm going to make a motion to move
Okay,
the question.
so
Motion to move the questions, non-debatable.
I wanted to just make my final statement. Okay. Well, I'm going to speak now and then I'll let you guys speak.
Question's been moved.
What question's been moved? I wanted to make a statement that maybe Director Moretti would like to hear.
Okay. Councilman Ferry, the question's been moved on passage of the resolution. It's non-debatable.
We have to vote. Okay, we have a motion to move. Do we have to approve that motion? Is there a second? Second on the motion to move? Can I second that?
Second.
Vote on.
Councilwoman Marino?
To be clear, we are now voting on the motion to move the question, correct? No.
Donegan? Councilman Campiano?
No.
Councilman Riley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
No.
Council President Paplaskas? Motion failed.
No, motion failed. Continue.
Okay. I feel that it is important that we engage the community, business leaders, and governmental stakeholders throughout this process. We must all be on the same page to make sure these funds are used to benefit everyone fairly. I urge passage tonight, but I also urge everyone involved in the process. Our intentions are to have one public meeting in November and one public meeting in December so that we can work with the administration in putting forth a report on how we should spend the money to benefit the city of Cranston. Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Councilwoman Jermaine.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not in the committee, but I really would appreciate that you pass this resolution because it's a call from our residents. They want to have their voice heard. They want to involve. And I believe that from many perspectives, we can find a better solution for our community. And often we think we have the solution. And I witness it back home as government, as nonprofit organization, we all think we have the best solution for people. But when you sit down with them and you hear them, you listen to them, that's when you will be surprised to see what you think that is the best solution is not. So having an opportunity to sit down with residents in Cranston to hear what they have to say and on how to solve systemic issues we have in the city, I think it's the best solution. So that's why I urge you the passage of this resolution.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilwoman Renzulli?
Thank you. So from the beginning, when we started talking about ARPA funds, I think that I've been pretty strong advocate for how to use these funds and working together to do so. And I've listened to several other cities do this and several webinars from National League and towns and cities. And so the public input, transparency, and accountability is critical to our response efforts. This is maybe not applicable to this resolution, but I hope that we will include some kind of online way to also submit your ideas, because some people just cannot come in person, cannot sit there, are not going to wait to Zoom, and might not give an effective presentation. So it's just going to be a bunch of people talking, repeating each other, where they could be submitting some projects online. So I just wanted to say that, and perhaps dividing, different groups for different meetings so that everything is more focused, like nonprofits, schools, however we want to do it, so that everyone we're not going all over the place. I think that would be a good idea. But the basis of this it's very important. I don't think anyone would disagree that we shouldn't have the public involved in how we spend this money. Finally, I was just wondering if did we put in any kind of amendment for number 2 that Director Strom brought up, the city council composing a report of findings to inform the council. I don't know if we have to do that or not.
Any other comment?
To the chair.
Council President?
Thank you. I know it's getting late. My comments will be brief. To say I will be supporting this. Transparency is key. Having these meetings are key. We want feedback. We need feedback. So I look forward to the meetings that will be set up, and hopefully we can get those going soon. So I will be in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. The intention of the meetings would be to have them here in council chambers, offering Zoom to the public that can't make it, and they would be done through finance committee meetings, and they would be available to everyone in the city. That answers your question. Any other comments? Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you. Just for clarification, the workshops, that's open to any one of us, of course, right? In addition to the residents, business owners, or any other stakeholders that we have in the city?
Yes.
Okay. When we do the workshops, I'm also wondering, I actually had written down here what Councilwoman Renzulli actually had just brought up as well, the whole, nonprofit and surveys. And I think the city of East Providence, Newport, so many of them are doing also surveys. Is that something that perhaps would be discussed at that workshop? I might be out of order on here, but I'm really making sure that when we have these workshops, that we make sure that we are running the workshop effectively. I'm not saying we're not, but I'm just saying who's going to be heading the actual workshop per se. Do we know that? It'll be
It'd
during
be
finance.
during a finance committee meeting.
Okay, my only suggestion on that is because the workshops will be done during finance committee meeting. I would actually like to see these workshops, not just during finance committee. I would actually like to see these workshops also accessible, other than just the finance committee per se. We're going to be opening it up to the community. Otherwise, a survey is something that I am a big fan of, to make sure that we can work together, whether it's through the health equity zone and get the word out, put it in the paper, put it on our own social media platform, let folks know and be able to engage, not just in the finance committee. I mean, let's take a look. Who's here at the finance committee right now? We have Zoom, they're able to see, but I would really, I'm in favor of this, by the way, for the record, but I also want to make sure that we just don't during a finance committee. I'm not sure if that is the only way that we have to do it. I'd be open to doing it in addition to that, to a finance committee, to make sure that we're not doing it at 8 o'clock at night or 7:30 o'clock, and that we're actually also making sure that everyone in the community is accessible, which is why I'm saying even through workshops or a survey, I'd be really, open to that idea, and go from there. Again, I just want to make sure that these workshops are not just during finance committee meetings, but they're open to the public, whether it's on a Saturday, let's just make sure that if we're going to have stakeholders involved, the nonprofits and business owners, stakeholders, that we're also making sure that we are making it accessible for those who live in our city, and that we get the word out. And quite frankly, I don't have a problem translating it also the survey into Spanish if we needed to get out into the extended community that we have here in our city. That's all I have for today. Thank you.
Councilwoman Marino.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vargas, the intent is to draw in as many as we can, and we can be creative in our efforts. And you being a former council person for longer, are familiar with, city council has in the past had workshops with the full council. So, we can be creative in how we do it, or special finance meetings with this is the only agenda item. And I think that we'd be able to get the draw, as you know as well from past experience. Surveys take time and money that we may be running up against in terms of the clock, and the amount of participation that you get back from the survey is something that is of concern too in drawing it up.
Just one more thing. Thank you, Councilwoman Marino. If through the administration, if possible, obviously, thank you so much, Councilman, for that clarification on there on the workshops. But the diversity committee, when I was part of it, recently used the police department to put out survey at no cost at all to the taxpayers or anything. While we're doing the workshop, if cost is a factor as far as having a fiscal note to this, would we at all be possible to at least get the survey going with the assistance of 1 hour, Survey Monkey, something along those lines that we're able to allocate just to continue to encourage. I just want to make sure we're really accessible and open to everyone. And so I think when we had the Diversity Commission survey that went out, we used the police department, or they were able to help us at least, to assist us with the surveys, or the health equity zone or someone to be able to provide. Survey Monkey is really not expensive. So we can get the link going in the meantime while we have to advertise these workshops. I think that would also be great. The matter is the language, just to make sure. And that's something that, again, I'd be more than happy to work with.
Councilwoman Mazzulli.
I've seen places use Google Forms, and that's free. So we could definitely do that. But if we don't do it that way, then people could, come, they have an idea in their head. It doesn't fit under any of the buckets. No one's going to stop them from speaking. But if there is a survey and they have to pick a category, they might not go outside of that category because it's right in front of them. They can have focused, and limit the number of words, and they can put their zip code so we know which ward they're in and what's more important to who and what ward. Otherwise, I don't know who's going to, we have minutes from our meetings, but they're not, super detailed in which we can write a report from them. And I don't know that any of us can really participate effectively and take minutes at the same time. So I think it makes sense to do it that way. And I think it would be, really easy to do. I agree with Lamas that we can't do it just at this time of day. Some people work right now. What about all the people who work in the restaurant industry or who are nurses, or we need to have things at different times of day in order to have more people to participate, if that's the point of this. And, we might get inundated with responses if there's a survey, but that's kind of the point too. I thought, to have the most people possible respond. It will be hard to go through, but it's going to have to be, a way to do it. If we want to do this, then, we have to go all out, or what's the point?
Okay, all of the things that you guys have suggested, we have discussed for many hours. And the situation is that it is November. And we need to have this done by January. And we've discussed the surveys, and we discussed having public meetings at the library and in other parts of the city. We did all that. And we came to the conclusion that the best way to do this would be to have it here where we have the technology and we can invite everyone in the city. And that's why we decided not to do the survey. And that's why we decided to do it here in council chambers, because this needs to be done by January, because the budget process will start without us. And then we can't be effective in what we want to accomplish.
Councilman Ferry.
To the chair.
Council President Paplaskas.
Just want to make two quick points. One, as long as we get it done by the budget. So if we wanted to start it after the holidays, I don't think we're really losing any ground. And the other thing is, all our dockets have a link where you can click and send us written testimony. You can still do that through the city council website. So, that will be open for the workshops as well. Thank you.
Councilwoman Manzulli.
Vice President Ferry, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but as you often are offended, I will say that I'm offended, because you're sitting here saying, we've discussed this for hours. We've discussed this for hours. I haven't. I wasn't invited. So that's not fair to say we've discussed this for hours, and for you and, a couple other people to have made a decision that now we all have to agree with, because obviously the basis of it, we do all agree that the rest of the community should be able to participate, but you're misrepresenting the fact that everybody's worked on this for hours and we've just gotten nowhere, because that's not true. It's disingenuous to put it that way. Thank you.
Rose, please take a roll on the motion.
Excuse
On the
me,
ordinance.
sir? You're going to ignore one of your council members and call for a roll? John.
Guys, please just take the roll. Let's move on. It's 9:30.
On the resolution as it reads.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
No.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. If I can even keep track of where we are. We have real estate tax abatements. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
We have next motor vehicle tax abatements. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Tangible tax abatements. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
No discussion. Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Donegan,
Councilman Donegan.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
Tax Assessment Board of, no vote will be taken. Is there any discussion on the Tax Assessment Board of Review? No discussion. We move on to tax interest waiver approvals. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Can I have a second?
Second.
No discussion. Rose, please take a roll.
Council,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan?
Councilman Campion? Councilman Riley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli? Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas?
May I have a motion to adjourn? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.